There were so many times where I was tempted just to stand up and bolt out the gate.
Gained 20% for no reason because I didn't know what it was. You went out of the classroom.
I was petrified. I'd be so close to fainting in form every single day.
I didn't know you were a twin.
You know what, this morning I made sure I had matching socks on. It's just in case they pick it up.
Why is that so random?
Because normally I would have just picked any two socks.
Okay, introduce me in 3 words and say why.
Okay. Melissa is outgoing, because I still remember that time where you're like not afraid to talk to people. You're very honest in a good way.
Or in a bad way.
No, in a good way. Because you always say what's on your mind. And trustworthy friendship.
For me, you're loyal.
Oh.
Like, literally, if you go up, you'll give advice, you will do anything. And
yeah, I would.
Like, the people that are close to you, you will do anything for them. You're actually so funny. Like, the thing is, with your sense of humor is not everybody will understand it, but you're so funny.
No.
Once you get to know you, you're so funny. Like, I would literally laugh at anything.
Same though.
And then the other one, you're just like so kind and like compassionate. Like, if they need help, you'll be like, okay, let me help.
Yeah.
Like
I always give someone a pen, and then I'm like, just keep it. A, because I don't want you to keep asking me, and B, because just it saves you for your next lessons.
Exactly.
That literally happened.
Another one, you always know everything. Like, I will go to you and ask you for like, when's this?
Organized,
like in school, you're so organized. Like, I'll be like, Olivia, when's this? You'll be like, here, I'll tell you everything.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first day of year 7?
Gosh, kind of. I remember being very nervous.
You know what? I remember my first year 7 like perfectly well.
Do you? I only remember that bit, and then when we met. The rest is...
This is what I remember. So we were in the lower tennis courts, like the cage.
Yes.
That's how I would describe it. The
cage
of where year 7s are. We were there, we were lining up, and they were like, so they gave us like letters. So we were 7N. Do you remember? We were 7N. I didn't know you were a twin. So
yeah, I remember that.
I didn't know you were a twin. And I was like, oh, this girl's in my class. I'll just follow her because I don't know anything. So I'm like waiting. Maddie, meanwhile, that's Olivia's sister, by the way, twin sister. Maddie is like waiting in line. And I was like, 7N, surely they already called that name. I was like, well, she's waiting. I might as well wait. Like, I'm doing something wrong. Came to lunch. You were packed lunch, I remember.
Yeah.
And
I still am, to be honest.
I think I got like a chicken panini or something.
The way you knew
I remember that because I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So I went, and then Maddie and a group of other friends, probably from your primary school.
I don't know. She managed to make friends so quickly.
I don't know, but she was in a group of friends, and I was like, Olivia, punching through, sit next to her. I was like, oh, Olivia, and she's like, I'm not Olivia, and I'm like, what? Yes, you are.
Meanwhile, we met in a science lab.
Yeah.
Well, not lab, but class.
Because our first lesson was a science lesson.
Yes, I remember.
Do you remember?
Because we didn't have P. We had P that day, but then P got cancelled, and you brought in your P kit. And I remember saying to you at the end of the day, "Why are you bringing your P kit?" And you were like, "Because we had P this morning, but it got cancelled."
No, but I remember we had science, and then she was like, "Oh, just sit anywhere." I sat at the back.
On the end.
I wanted to sit at the back, but I just like people
were coming in, but I walked
around the classroom thinking, where shall I sit? Take my sweet time, and then at the end I just like, I'll just sit next to her because
quiet, not gonna bother you.
Yeah, exactly. And then afterwards we had a science experiment with Bunsen burners,
and then I was like,
we were both terrified. Do you remember?
Yes.
We were both.
I think I made you do it though.
Yeah. Just practicals in general scared me.
They still do now. Like I have to get someone else
I'm
to
so
pour
glad
the solution.
I didn't do it, but like I'm just so scared. Because remember that last time the glass broke when
I dropped the glass.
Did you drop it?
Yeah, it was tongs, and it was really. So the beaker was hot because we did it in a Bunsen burner.
Yeah.
And then I just remember was rushing me to get over there and put it down. And I was like, okay, so I took the tongs. Now the tongs were like these triangle things that were like,
I don't. Oh yeah,
and they were
so bad.
They were crap.
Most of them were like broken.
Like you had to hold them both, and I didn't. And then someone bumped into me, and the beaker slipped.
Yeah, and then there was glass everywhere,
and it had liquid in it. I can't remember what it was.
And we were just terrified from that one. Like from that point on, we were terrified.
Yeah.
But then you know what? I also remember on that lesson we finished the practical. We sat, and I just started talking to you.
Yeah.
And like you weren't that willing to talk because you're like, okay, because you're such a good girl.
Yeah.
No, but you were like genuinely scared, but you were still talking to me. Then the teacher, she was like, "Stop talking, you two." Do you remember?
I actually don't. I remember when we did the work and then we had homework and then we got a detention because we took our books home.
We didn't get a detention. We got 4 behaviour points.
Oh, well, behaviour points because we didn't get the book. Yeah, we brought our books home. We were like, but we have homework.
Yeah. No, but basically, so she gave us practice questions because she's so annoying because we were in year 7 and she was giving us 103 questions to answer that we didn't know, and I was getting 20% for no reason because I didn't know what it was. So we stuck it into our books because I asked her before, "Oh, miss, should we stick it into our books?" Yes, obviously.
Confusing life for little year 7s.
Stuck it into our book. Obviously, doing the homework, need to get our books. The rest of the class, I don't know what they were doing.
They were behind.
We
were just on top. Like, let's be realistic. We were just.
She never marks any of the books, and then had like a list of names.
Yeah.
We were both there. There were a couple of other people.
I was petrified,
and I was like, "You're staying after school."
And do you remember
4 behaviour points?
Yeah, and do you remember? No, she
detention.
And then it's like, and then the audacity to go to us to walk in the classroom, hand us her book, and then literally 2 seconds later she go, "Yeah, you're fine."
Exactly.
Then remove the behaviour points.
Tick, and that's
and
it.
I never had the guts to tell any teacher that they were in the wrong.
For that.
But I remember you going, "But miss, you told us to stick in the book and we had homework. You never told us to bring the book back, nothing like this." And she was like, "Oh, my apologies," and never removed the points. I remember us going in her like 2 years ago and being like, "Miss, we give us behaviour points."
No, because I was genuinely petrified, shocked, and thought that's it, that's the end. That's the end of the world.
Reputation gone out window.
Literally that. A memorable moment from school. I'll go first if you want.
Yeah.
Obviously getting head girl.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But you know what? I want to explain how I even got it and like what was going through my head at that time.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, obviously they did applications for junior leadership team. You can apply for head girl, deputy, prefect. I think that's what they're called.
Yeah, they have new badges now.
I don't know, but
all up to date.
Anyway, that was the application. It's like, which one should I apply for? So you can apply for multiple, you can apply for 3. I said, I'll go for head girl and deputy, that's it. But I didn't know you had to make a separate applications for all 3 of them. So in the application process, it says, tick which ones, head girl, deputy, or prefect. And I ticked all 3, but did an application for head girl. So I only submitted 1 application, whereas you were meant to do all 3.
I remember when you told me you did it, I knew you fit the role.
I also was like, I need to be head girl.
Like, all the other people who did it, they were, from what I could see, they were all just either too shy, like no one would listen to them. Like, one of them was like, she ended up being deputy. And you had to literally go to her, right, you're not doing your job, you're not doing this.
She didn't do anything.
No.
Well, none of them did anything.
And she would be like breaking all of the rules and not being a good role model. And I'm
being on her phone. Well, deputy girl.
And the fact that you wanted to be head girl.
So then came the interviews. I got shortlisted. I was like, whoa, I got shortlisted. Like, I didn't think I was going to make it to that. I was like, I'm scared. I had an interview with their teacher and then our head of year. Composure, went to the office, obviously so nervous. Yeah. Like, I was like, my mouth was dry.
Was it in the
block? It was It was in the central block. So I walked in, knocked on the door. I've never been to her office before. So I went there, and then obviously them two were sat. I sat opposite. She started talking about the mission statement. I didn't know the mission statement. I was like, gosh. And because it was an all-girls school, I was like, okay, female empowerment. That's all I was going for.
No,
making them confident, making this. And then what would you change? I was like, well, I love physical education, so we need to incorporate more sport, being more active, because if you're more active, then it helps with mental health. So on and that.
Yes, scrap PSHE. We need to be working out in the morning. You know,
literally that
dance fitness.
I get intimidated so easily. So when the other girls were like, who applied, were like, yeah, I did really good. I was like, oh, I messed up in my interview. No, I thought I wouldn't get it.
I will tell you, one of them who wanted to be, she was either prefect or deputy in the end, but she came to me for advice. And I was like, I've not even applied. But she was like, oh, I've heard people tell me about like a good Catholic life. And I was like, okay, well, I can't remember why I told her, but I told her stuff. And she was, and then afterwards I said to her, I was like, oh, how did it go? She was like, I used everything you said and I think it went okay. So.
Because I think it was so revised. Loads of people just revised, you know, like you treated it as a test. You need to be natural about it.
You don't want a robot.
Exactly. You don't want a robot. You want somebody that actually can speak.
A little bit, like I feel like the great like public speaker has a little bit of personality, right?
Yeah.
Natural, comfortable. Even if they aren't comfortable, they look comfortable up there.
Yeah. And we went to that assembly, and then they announced.
Yeah.
And then so they were like, year 7, a prefect team. Year 8, year 9, year 10, year 11. I was like, I'm not getting this. Like, then came the deputies. I was like, that's it. There goes my chances. Then my name comes up, and I'm like, I'm so shocked. Like, I didn't even experience any happy emotion. I was like, just shell shock. Like, I was like, what's going on?
I know, and my former was sat right at the front of the assemblies, and then I just remember seeing you. I'm like,
you're like, you knew. Maddie was like, you're gonna get it, and I'm like,
yeah. Well, like we didn't want to set you up, but we were like, yeah, 100% you.
I wish I got to do more though. I didn't do a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything.
The world, like, I heard of you, literally went, the world's gonna know.
The world, literally, like, everybody's gonna know her name. She's gonna be doing all this and
but that. Do you know what they actually did? Because when I went back there, they you know when you go into reception and you had the board.
Is my name in there?
They updated it, yeah. But
that's all I cared.
Yeah. It was like,
my name's gonna be in there.
Melissa, 2023 to 2024. I think then.
Yay. What was your memorable moment?
We had the sports day and we all ran the 800 meters and we were like, and everybody like went so fast at the start to the point that they were like that. But I ended up coming 4th.
That's really good.
It was Maddie first, you second, someone else. Probably.
I don't even know.
Someone else.
I can't even
and then it was me 4th. And I just remember afterwards, like, Miss hugging us all.
I love that. That was one of my favorite moments as well because it was so wholesome. They should have taken a picture.
They honestly should. I'm glad we got a picture of her though when we signed our shirts and levers because
that picture, those 2 pictures, the selfie one and the one that we're just standing, is my favorite.
I'm surprised we were able to put it on Instagram.
Let's go into the bad one then. The worst.
Ooh, the worst one
for you.
Ooh, and then I think you already know.
Do I? I know one, but you probably don't remember this. But I remember it pretty well.
Okay.
Just for you personally.
I mean, when I went through that whole anxiety thing and then just...
That was actually pretty bad.
That was so sad.
I was actually so scared because it was during half term and you were fine just before, and this was in year 9. So you were like fine and I was like happy Olivia, like all fine.
Yeah.
Then like after half term, you didn't show up for like a week, I think. It was something like that. It
probably would have been a couple of days because my dad wouldn't allowed me, but yeah.
Everybody was asking, where's Olivia? Where's Olivia? I was like, I have no idea where she is. Like probably sick.
But do you know what it was?
You came in, you were crying. And I was like, what's going on? You didn't, I was like, that's not Olivia because you love school. Like in year 8.
It generally was,
you loved school.
I just remember like not being able to understand what was wrong, but just being like, I'm not safe at school. And then I remember always getting into the car, not eating, so I'd physically starve myself. Always sit at reception, crying. I'd just see like my mum would just walk me in. I'd have like a member of SLT they would literally have to drag me to an office or something, like away from the school gate, because can I tell, there were so many times where I was tempted just to stand up and bolt out the gate.
Yeah.
Because I I know my surroundings. I could have gone home, but obviously couldn't do that because I'd get in so much more trouble. So I got into counselling, and then my mum was like, okay, we want to see whether or not you have autism or not. And then through the whole time, with like ahead of year, my mum, and I still did this now because otherwise my hands shake. And so I shake my knee and I'm going like this in class. And I'm doing this behind the desk, right? And as I'm doing that, like she's talking about how I'm fine, or my teachers think I'm fine, you know.
But you're not fine. Like, it doesn't
And
matter.
then my mum's like, but can you not see what she's doing right now? Like, this is her masking it. And then I remember in year 10, I thought I was out of it, and I ended up going back into it because when I started, I would like feel physically, I'd be so close to fainting in form every single day. And I'd be too scared to go and get a blood test done.
And nobody knew, probably. You were just sitting there and they were like,
I was sitting there drinking water and sweating. But they wouldn't know that because I'm so good at like hiding it.
Yeah, because everyone's like, oh, that's just Olivia. Like, she doesn't want to talk.
I remember when someone was like, they knew me for 3 years. And then when I was like, got comfortable and started talking to them, they were like, oh, I didn't think you could talk. I thought you were mute. And I was like, great. Now I'm going to go back to thinking I'm mute because you just like pushing me back into my shell.
He was like year 8. We were like computing or something. And then
they
brought up
my gosh,
these two. What was it about? Smoking or something?
It was about smoking and drugs, and they just brought it up.
They brought it up. And then, how did they target you? They hear something.
Don't even know.
They were like, Olivia.
They were just, both of them were just like, she just kept pushing me and going.
Pushing you to the point of tears. You went out of the classroom. Bless the teacher.
And then another one started babbling about how I'm dramatic and how, this is this. And then I couldn't explain to the teacher why I started crying.
So you just went
out.
I
made up a story about how apparently it killed someone. I don't even know if that's true or not. Yeah. But I made up a story.
Oh, so it wasn't true?
No. I just didn't like the fact that she just kept targeting me. So I made up the story and was like, that this is not acceptable, the fact that she's doing this to me.
I literally was...
So that could have been the start of when, like, it probably could have been signs.
And I just remember you going out, and then I'm just like, I literally had enough. I was like, why are you doing this? I literally not screamed out, but I shouted at her. Obviously the teacher was like, whatever. I'm defending my friend. I'm like, why did you do that? Like, what was your reasoning behind? Obviously I don't know the exact words that I said. I was like, clearly it's making her upset and you're just laughing about it.
Yeah. Thank God she left.
The plus side is I got out of computing because I just
I was like, hate computing.
Honestly, I hated it so much.
But actually, I remember the following week, I actually stood up to a person. She started talking about me behind my back. Well, actually, you know, it was like at the corner of the room. I was sitting there. I don't think you were in or not. But then it was like, this girl that left, and it was Emma's friend, and then it was Connie. And then Connie was like, oh my gosh, did you hear about what happened last week? And she said my name, and I kid you not, I turned around and was like, yeah, she knew because she was there. And then was like, she was there when I was crying my eyes out. And then she was like, oh, and then she had the audacity to turn back around to me and go, we weren't talking about it. I was like, yes, you were. I literally just heard my name and you talking about the whole drama between me and this other person. So shut up. And then I turned back around and was like, gosh. But then I was like, wow, I just did that. I'm going to run away.
You know, one of my like worst memories was actually at the start of year 10. I found it so difficult to settle in.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was year 7 all over again. Even worse. Because I was isolated from all my friends. Like, I didn't have a class with you.
No, we barely saw each other.
Anybody. And I remember every time we had science, it was a small class, but everybody was like in 2s or 3s or like knew each other, and I was just there alone. Just like, great. Like,
I
I
bet-
bet into twos.
I
And I'm
bet,
like, well, who am I going to go with?
yeah, I bet you were like, oh, thank God that I ended up moving RA classes because of the anxiety thing, and then just being in your class.
Also in PE, like, I need you in PE. I take PE so seriously. Like, if you're not up to my standards, then
Yeah, and
I
then
won't enjoy
get
it.
out.
Like, get out, yeah.
It was nice though having our little. Remember when we were like, oh my God, this is our last time we're playing badminton together, and we were just like,
We would
and then we'd be like
drenched with sweat.
and then they'd look at us going, and then I would like, you'd always come out really red afterwards.
Oh, I just
And then I just
naturally flush.
Yeah, and they'd look at you and be like, Melissa, are you okay?
No,
like, and we'd be like, we just had a great game of like straight on, just going,
hitting. Oh my God, I love that though.
Cool memory.
Oh my gosh, you know another in PE? It was our last PE lesson, and we were doing, I think it was netball bench ball or basket. No, it was netball bench
Yeah.
ball. We had a really good team. We got to choose our teams. We were up against this other team. They were really competitive. I was the last one, and I don't even know who pushed me, but somebody went
Yes. Oh
down
my gosh.
on the floor. I was like, out
And
of
then
nowhere.
everybody was like, why did you do that? And then they started attacking us. And then I just sat there on the bench because I was like, well, first of all, I made sure you were okay. And then I was like, just leave it because there was nothing to, like, yeah, okay, you pushed her down, you cheated, and you overall.
But we still won.
Yeah, and you weren't being a very good sportsman.
Exactly. No, but
it doesn't matter. And then the others were just making such a huge thing out of it.
But they made a deal out of it because, so they pushed me down, started laughing, thought that was funny. I picked myself up straight away, got the ball.
Yeah.
And the balls are going up. There was another girl. And like, because afterwards when you're the only person to do basketball.
Yeah.
And like my hand went like slipping down onto one of her nose and scraped her nose. That's it.
Yeah,
That's when it hit off. And I was like, I don't need this.
Thank God we went to the all-girls school, because otherwise, if like boys would have been involved with that, they would have.
They probably would have shoved me down onto the floor or killed me. I would not be alive today. But
remember what style group you were? I can't remember the names, but I remember I was grades 5 to 6, and Maddie was 6 to 7s, and I think you were 6 to 7s as well.
I don't know. I never really.
I think it
was based on the SATs scores.
I don't know.
Apparently it was based on the SAT scores, but I never looked at it. I just looked at my red, orange, or green. I was always green.
That system wasn't even. That was exactly because it wasn't even my fault with Miss Red, lady. I love you girls as people, but I hate teaching you with students. Aren't you the same person?
I hated her voice. Gosh.
My husband did this. My dog did this. I take off my high heels and wear socks. Okay. What about Queen Elizabeth, please?
Exactly. No, and the thing is, she'll only pay attention to the front row people.
Or the people who were like, who
the
asked
chatty
her
ones,
about
basically.
her personal life.
Like, gosh.
Are we here for that?
We're really not.
And then on a card, you put a picture of your cat, and she hates cats.
Well, you don't know my name. You don't know how I look like, so a cat is the best representative you'll get. Would you say you're different from year 7 to year 11?
Absolutely.
Like, what has changed?
Mentally. Me mentally. Obviously physically as well, because
but
I've grown. But yeah, I'd say my mental capacity has grown a lot. The way that I perceive the world has grown. I've actually developed my own beliefs as well. I went to
religious beliefs.
Yeah, like I think that kind of helped as well.
Yeah,
because like I'm not strictly like go to church every day,
Christian.
pray.
Yeah, same.
And even now, like my self-image has changed, because sometimes I'm like, oh, can't see myself like that, or like, oh, I look disgusting.
Yeah.
But actually, it's just like, well, I don't care.
Yeah. For me, it's my confidence. In year 7, I used to be so shy. I would follow you around because I didn't know the classes. I was like, oh, I'm really scared.
Like, I
had such a scared mentality.
I remember, no, but me too. Because I remember you, like, I managed to get down the patterns of where our classes were, and then I just like we'd rush to the classes. But in our eyes, we weren't rushing.
We were so scared
going to class.
We were so scared to be late because we didn't want a detention, so we ran. Well, I say we walked really fast.
I mean, there was only one time we ran, and I remember because fell, and then we were like, we looked at her and was like,
we can't help.
Oh well, run. And then I felt really bad, so I got to Spanish. She was like, Miss fell, so she may be late, and she was like, okay, thank you for telling me. Like she didn't care at all.
Okay. Yeah. Now I'm doing a Q&A. That's going to be like how to end off the pod. Okay. The first episode, the first official. So these are like quick questions. Okay. So favorite year?
Year 11.
Year 9. And year 11 as well. Did you ever cheat on a test?
No.
I did.
Did you? When?
Basically, in English, we were doing these computer tests that for quotes, where you had to remember quotes. Do you remember?
Yes.
I didn't even. They sprang on us. How am I meant to remember all these quotes from 20 poems? GCSE. Like, I'm sorry, but like, no, that's not how it works. So I remember I was like, oh no, I'm probably gonna get 20%.
But that's what I got. And Miss was like, underachieved, but don't worry.
And then, because I think they realised that loads of people were failing. So then I would go on, when she's not looking, I went onto like the other web and I was like, wait for this. And I was like, okay, got it. And I got like 40%.
Okay.
40. So I didn't want to try, because I thought loads of people are going to get 80%. Or like 70. So I was scared, and I was in set 1. So I was like, that's it, they're going to kick me out. Like that was my thing. But yeah. Did you ever get a detention?
Yes. And I cried afterwards because it was history, right? In year 11, I had gone through nearly 5 years of like being a really good student, nothing, no detentions. And then bam, he was like, oh yeah, you did your educate late. I was like, are you kidding me? I was in Spain. I was doing your workshop and I didn't get any internet. And I literally told you this and you were like, and then I got 100% when I did it. And he was like, no, you did it late 15. No, I think it was half an hour. It was meant to be 15 minutes. And I was like, and then.
How long was the detention?
Half an hour. So I sat there doing my maths homework.
Oh, wow.
And he started to school. Yeah. And then obviously the head of history came in and was like, all these people, why have you got so many? He was like, educates. But the thing is, right, it wasn't just me, it was so many other people.
Exactly.
And I'm sure surely if it's like half the class in there, then it's something to do with you and not the students.
The only detention that I got was, so I don't know if you remember, we were in RE.
Yes.
And it was at the end of the lesson. And then your form tutor comes knocking on the door and she's like, can I borrow Melissa for a few seconds? She's not in any trouble. That means you're in trouble, by the way, if they say that. Just a heads up for anybody.
I'd still be panicking.
So I came and I was like, oh, okay, so I'm not in trouble. Like, what is this? She's like, just come up. We went to history. And afterwards, she's like, I wrote basically an email after I slipped. I'm running to the block just to get to your lesson. I'm slipping. I could have died. You don't know what could have happened. I mean, it's so dramatic. But I sat there reading my book, and then afterwards 10 minutes flew by, and I was like, I don't know if I tell her or not. Like, I've never been to a detention. I don't know what to do. So I just sat there for an extra 5 minutes, and I was like, oh, miss, I think time's up now. So I need to go. And then she's like, so you know why you've earned that detention? Did you ever get a behaviour point? Obviously.
Yeah.
But did you get any other behaviour points?
Yes.
I did as well. But
Miss University who? Because why the flip? Someone's talking, it's not us, and you're going, right, you're going like that. And then she was like, it's not mañana, it's mañana. And I was like, That's literally what I just said. And you're going, the sash she gave us. And then I think we were like, Miss, get rid of her. Get rid of her.
Get the whole class in detention. Not detention, behaviour points.
So yeah, I ended up getting 6. 2 from her and 4 from Salami, which we already spoke about.
I had 2 behaviour points for no reason. So I had a school council meeting before. I explained everything while I was 20 minutes late to a lesson.
Oh
She's
my
like,
gosh.
yes, understand. I have a note to tell you. Everything still gives me 2 behaviour points for no reason. Do you prefer working alone or in a team?
I feel like it depends. I would like to say alone, just because I don't want to have to socialise with people.
Yeah.
Classic. But no, I would say working in a team, as much as you hate the person or like dislike them, I think, okay, yeah, you get it. Because when you work with them, you have so many different views and opinions that work so nicely when they're put together, because you come with a conclusion. Like running the club I now do, the amount of times we've had debates, because that's kind of like the main part. The amount of times we've had someone go, well, I think this, and then the other person go, well, I think this, and then we say, okay, do you agree? Can you elaborate? Like, how about this? Do you have any other examples and things like this? You know, how could you relate this to what we're currently speaking about this woman or whatever? It's, yeah, I would say definitely work in a team.
I prefer working in a team now. I used to always do solo or like work with you.
Yeah.
I like working with you.
This was a solo.
Yeah, this is also a solo.
Yeah.
No, but seriously. Like in my college, we do so much teamwork that now I actually like it and I prefer it. Even though I do like to do the writing, the talking, the presenting, everything, but still, like I do like and I understand that you've got to delegate. Did you ever fake being sick?
Yeah.
To skip school?
Yeah. But I would never do it in school. But there was one time, I think most of it was during my like that phase.
That period. Yeah.
That phase. Yeah, I'd say like I would just get in the car and be like, no, I can't do it. And then I went to reception. They were like, oh, head of year wants to see you. Gosh. So I like walked down and I'm like, please don't shout at me. Like I'm so not in the mood. And then she ended up, she was like, you're fine. You're faking it. You need to eat something. And I was like, I'm not going to eat. Like I swear to God, I can't eat.
You can't force somebody to eat.
Because they were like, oh, you can't. They were like, you can't have the medicine without eating. And I was like, well, I'm not going to eat. And then I just remember she calling my mum, and then my mum was like, let me speak to her. And my mum had to go. When my mum heard me, she was like, yeah, okay. She's not up to it. And then she went. And then my mum was like, pass me back to your head of year. Passed it back. And she was on the phone. She was like, listen to me very carefully. I am her mother, and I'm going to come get her. She is not fit to be in school. And then Miss was like, she's faking it. She's this, is it. And
how do you know she's faking it?
Again, I am on my way, and I am her mother. And then in the end, the head of year gave up, and she was like, you are her legal guardian, so, you know, I'm going to have to respect your wishes, but, you know, I hope to see you tomorrow. And I'm like, I won't, like, I was like, and every single time after school, I'd just be like, I know for a fact I have to do this all over again the next day, and that would kill me.
Yeah.
Like, so badly.
Yeah.
You?
If it wasn't an important day, I wouldn't go in. Like, say it was the whole day of PSHE, like, there's no point in me sitting through that whole day.
Yeah.
I'd rather get some studying done. Smart or popular?
Smart. Reason why people are popular is because they're pretty, or
no,
like,
but
if you're popular, that's okay. But just put that out there. But like for us, it was.
But no, because there's a lot of pretty people, but they're not popular.
From what I was seeing, it was pretty, and then or they were willing to go to loads of parties, get drunk all the time.
That's popular for me, was the partying.
Yeah.
Because anybody that entered the party, because it was so inclusive, Like, you had to be invited for that party.
Yeah.
But I never really understood the parties. Like,
No.
why would I want to get drunk or whatever they were doing?
I think from the party, I went to a party last month, and from what I could see about like what everybody was, it was, first of all, it was one of my friends, so I knew them. I knew the people they weren't applied. You could we came a bit later, but you could obviously see those who were drunk and those who were not. And now it's kind of like, also I feel like, because there are so many sober people now as well, he was like, oh, I want to make sure that the sober people are having a good time and all. But I just found it so funny how some of the people who were like so drunk couldn't keep their head, but they were like proper like this, and they were like, yeah. And I had so many people go to me, I love you, like, you're awesome. I'm like, I've never spoken to you. I thought you hated me. And they were like, love you, hope you had an amazing time. I'm like, you're so drunk right now. But then I would be so scared of what would happen.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I can't. I just don't. I'm so scared to put myself in that state. Yeah. I don't know, like,
yeah,
you're out of control at that point. But yeah.
You're so susceptible to suggestions as well. And as we're getting older, there are so many times where you're going to go down to like, or well, they'll go down to this club, and then you'll never hear back from them again. Or you'll get in a car and they think, the stubborn people who are drunk and they think they're not drunk, and then they get into a car accident because they've driven and someone's in the back and then they've lost their legs. Like, that's actually happened. They've lost the ability to walk and things like that. I'm not putting myself through that. No, thank you.
I think we'll end it there then.